Hello, darling. I wasn't going to record this message because right as I was getting ready to get started, my husband decided that he wanted to watch TV upstairs, and so there's some background noise, but if we can just ignore that, and I won't take much of your time. I was sitting this morning and I was journaling, and I started thinking back to when did this all kind of begin for me? When did I decide that I wanted to be more? More of what? I didn't know. But I just had this deep longing to be more. I won't go into too much detail, but a lot of us have found that usually the longing to be something more often comes from a traumatic event or something emotionally destabilizing happens in our life, and it was the same for me. And that time in my life, I remember coming across this book. And I've told this story before. This was probably, I think maybe actually the first self-help book that I ever got. And I had went to visit my youngest sister. And a little backstory on that. And she was always one of those sisters that followed me around and always wanted to do what I did. And Lord, I didn't always make the best choices, but she saw the book and she looked at me with a question in her eyes, and it just said, huh? So I kind of looked back and she says, you're the last person that I would have ever thought would have this book, that would be reading this book. I think my initial feeling was maybe embarrassment. But then the next thought was that how far I had come from who I was. That an older version of me wouldn't have been reading a book about feeling worthy. And it's a great book. But an older me wouldn't have been reading this book. And so then I started, well, what did you allow to happen to yourself that would bring you so low that you would have to read a book to make you feel worthy? That word allow stings a little bit. But we do allow, to some extent, things to happen to us. And I'm not just meaning physically, emotionally, but maybe spiritually too. Like, negative self-talk, you know? Not only are we allowing it, we're causing it. There was a spot in this book, and I'd like to read it to you. It said, where you come from doesn't have to determine where you're going, and that your past can only hold you back if you live there. I learned this by feeling stuck for a long time. And then I learned how to break free. Pretty powerful. How to break free. The cage that we think that we're in. and that we don't realize that the gate has never been locked. I saw this meme of a horse, and he was tied to a chair. This chair was such a small, puny chair. But the horse didn't go anywhere. Because in his mind, that chair was stronger than he was. So he didn't even try. And I think that that's kind of how we are as humans. We've been hurt or disappointed. Maybe we've never had someone believe in us, and so we don't believe in ourselves. And we keep ourselves tied to that chair. What if we simply tried? We're so much stronger. We could walk away. No, I'm not saying that everything will be easy and the road won't get bumpy sometimes. So we all know that that's not true. It's because of the bumps, really, that we learn and that we grow. A person who's carried will never learn to walk. But it takes believing in ourselves, believing that we can walk. I made a video, and it was about taking the first step, just making steps, taking steps. And sometimes the first step is the hardest, and sometimes we do have to stop and take breaks, and that's okay. The biggest thing we need to remember is just that we are worthy. Everyone is worthy. We just have to believe in ourselves. We're stronger than we think we are. We don't have to be in that cage. We don't have to be stuck. We're not really stuck. Okay. Keep on keeping on, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.